on blast.
And we are live. This is the Wrap It Up podcast. My name is Sheldon Alexander. I'm joined with my guy Mikey. Mikey, what's good, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, brother.
All right.
It's been a while. I've been good. Fresh off a week's vacation. Didn't go anywhere, but a little bit of R&R.
Okay. Well, the Toronto Raptors could be doing better.
They had a little bit of R&R tonight.
Right? Shouts to the people in the chat. They're telling me that the feed is good and my computer does
guys.
work and I can hear that it's good. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for letting me know. And, you know, the Raptors were working for some of the game. I guess they worked hard in this game, but didn't have enough as they lose to the Denver Nuggets 95-86. Toronto Raptors fall. I want to know what people think about this loss because there's a lot of things here. First off, right? Like you have a lot of injuries. Raptors go into this game. There's no Pascal, no Kyle Lowry, no JV, no Freddie. We got to remember Norm's still out as well.
Yeah.
That's like a unit of a lineup that would probably play minutes for this team, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of injuries, and you go down to one of the best teams in the West, but they're also dealing with injuries themselves, right?
Yeah. No Barton, no Gary Harris, no Paul Millsap, no Isaiah Thomas.
So I see in the chat here, some people are saying that this loss is unacceptable. People are upset with this loss. Are you upset with this loss, Mikey? I'll ask you that first.
Well, first, the Raptors, I guess, forgot that the NBA plays 4 quarters because, I mean, I don't know what happened there. I mean, they had the lead at the third, up by 4.
Yeah.
And then they proceeded to let Denver go on an 18-0 run.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't score for what seemed like minutes and minutes and minutes. But
There were
I don't know.
massive droughts
It
in
was
that.
OG Anunoby was. I don't know how many more. It seemed like it was practice for him.
Right.
How many open shots he had. And anyways, for the people upset with this one, no, Denver's deep. Denver's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both teams had injuries.
Yeah.
Jokic, one of the best all-around centers. You know what I mean? With the things he does.
I mean,
Jamal Murray's fire.
I think it was like an evenly matched game
Yeah.
in the sense that like both teams dealing with
It was
injuries.
kind of like, I mean, it was the Milwaukee game in a sense with with Greek freak out.
Oh, okay,
Kind of, you know what I mean? Like it kind of seemed like one of those weirdly matches, and we lost that game too. No, you can't be mad at this one, guys. They played well, but Denver's a deep team.
Denver's a good team. The Raptors played pretty well, and overall, like if you follow me in this podcast, you know I'm all about the overall like process of the season, right? Like I'm not going to get weighed down too much by wins or losses because whatever. But I think in this game in particular, you look at it and you think, okay, you're missing all these guys. You're playing a lineup. The Raptors have played 32 games this season, and they've started 10 different starting lineups. Right? Some of that is because of the JV and Surge flip-flop, obviously, but some of it's just injuries, right? So the Raptors have been dealing with injuries for the entire season. Probably this game they've dealt with the most injuries, of course, but in that instance, you need other guys to step up.
Yeah.
OG Anunoby was 2 of 10, as you mentioned, 2 of 8 from 3, and a lot of those threes are wide open looks.
They were just giving it to him.
You can't miss those shots. You can't miss those shots if you're OG Anunoby, and he continued to miss them. CJ Miles got the start, and I thought he played well in the first half. He was active, but his 3 was never falling. He was 2 for 12 in this game, 2 of 9 from beyond the arc. And you mentioned the fourth quarter, Mike. How many wide open shots did CJ Miles and OG just miss? And it's tough because Kawhi has the ball. Kawhi's getting double teamed. People are complaining about, is Kawhi a hog? Is he a ball stopper? Is he this, that, and the third?
He's the only one scoring.
He's the only one scoring. He's driving and kicking to these guys for wide open shots, and they're missing.
Yep.
I got no beef with Kawhi Leonard at all. He definitely tried to gut out this win.
Yeah.
Right? What did he put up? 29 points.
14 boards.
14 rebounds.
Guys, the thing too, so OG was 2 for 10. But 8 of those 10 shots were from 3.
Yeah.
He missed them all. I think he got 1. He had 1 in the fourth quarter.
He was 2 for 8 from 3.
Oh, 2 for 8 from 3.
But you're right.
Seemed
Just like
it was a lot more. Yeah.
It's just.
It was an off night for him.
It's a bad night, and you're not going to sustain having from that position because CJ and OG were basically subbing out for each other.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that combined, you guys go 4 for 22, That's not good.
So this is what I took. So when we started this road trip, there seemed to be, besides the Kyle thing, we all know which fix, but there seemed to be a lot of, why is it just Kawhi ISO? So when we did those 2 great wins without Kawhi, it seemed like and I'm not putting out that we're better than Kawhi without Kawhi narrative. But I did see the Raptors kind of get back to good ball movement, right? Because it kind of was a Kawhi ISO.
Yeah.
And so when we won those 2 games, and probably easily the best game we're going to have of the regular season against Golden State, we got back to that ball movement. So Kawhi comes back, and it's not ISO Kawhi. They're doing the ball movement. But then now they're missing all the shots.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
it's kind of
but it's not
like.
But this is what I mean. Why you can't take too much away from that, because in a normal situation, right? CJ not getting to miss all those shots. He's not getting to miss 7 threes because he's getting subbed out.
Yeah.
And some of those shots are going to be Freddie taking those shots or Pascal taking those shots. OG is definitely not getting a chance to miss 6 threes in a normal situation because some of those shots are Kyle shots.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So
no, of course, yeah.
It's like you're running the right offense, and you're totally right about the fact that tonight Kawhi looked a lot better, and I think part of the reason is because Nick Nurse ran the offense through Kawhi. He was kind of in that Kyle role where he's handling the ball, he's running the pick and roll.
3,
yeah, right. He's running the pick and roll with Serge, and I thought the 2-man game that Kawhi had with Serge Ibaka was really good. We saw a bunch of plays where he would drive, hit Serge dunking the ball in the lane. Like, there were things that you can take from this game overall and understand that you lost because you didn't make enough shots in the second. Like, you had a terrible fourth quarter and didn't make any shots, right? It was a pathetic shooting display in the fourth quarter for sure from the Raps. But again,
they weren't even contested shots. Really.
No.
Like I'm trying to think back. There wasn't too many. I mean, in the paint, but like when you're going out, when you're dishing outside for majority of those shots, like they're wide open.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That can't happen, guys.
So let's get to some comments here on Instagram. My guy C Brown says, solid split, no complaints. I mean,
definitely.
When I go back to the start of this road trip, right? What did I say? They get a split. This is a success of a road trip.
But we thought it'd be the other way around.
Exactly. That's what kind of has people thrown off because you figure, okay, well, maybe they would have, after you win the first 2, you're like, oh, people are talking sweep. And then you lose the next 2, and now people are like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stick with the initial. You got to split on it
like that.
Very tough.
They exhale a bit and, okay, we got it. You know what I mean? And maybe you don't play as hard.
Well, that's a very tough 4-game road trip, right? So they blew out the Clippers, blew out Golden State, and then you lose 2 tough games
to Portland,
right? Where you're dealing with injuries, you don't have your starting point guard, you're starting all-star point guard. It's okay. And for even bigger perspective, I go to my guy Josh Lewenberg, right? Who's one of my favorite Raps beat writers, and he tweeted this after the game. He says, the Raptors finished their 2-game West Coast road trips with a record of 6-2, including their first ever sweep of any 4+ game trip and wins over the Lakers, Jazz, and Clippers Warriors in back-to-back nights without Kawhi. Not bad, I'd say. Right?
Yep.
Perspective.
True, yeah.
I mean, overall, the things that you're seeing from this team, there's
6-2 West Coast trip, pretty much, right?
6-2 West Coast this whole season. That's amazing. That's great. You got your West Coast trips out of the way now,
and majority of those without Kawhi.
Yeah. And so the other thing, I think they mentioned it during the broadcast, the Raptors don't have another game this season that's not in the Eastern or Central time zone, right? So, hey, 6-2 records going through that.
23-9. The hard grunt of the work and the travel pretty much is done,
right? So
we're sitting good, guys.
Yeah, everything's okay, and I just feel like, you look
like you said, it is. You're completely right. We all know, like, there's no secret. We're making the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah.
So you're right. We want to see the process of what this team has. It gives a chance for a cushion for Nick Nurse to kind of, tweak with a couple things, see what he likes, and you're right. It's all the process, pretty much, of getting adapted and ready in different scenarios for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I also think that a big part of it is that I think that a big part of what's happening too is that in talking about how the season is a process, right? you get chances where you get a chance to see people get new opportunities, right? CJ Miles got a chance to start. He's been struggling this entire season. You're giving him a chance now to start in this game because of the injuries, and he didn't play well.
No.
OG Anunoby also didn't play well, right? But we've seen Fred, right? Fred's out tonight with injuries as well. But in prior games where Freddie's had to step in because Kawhi's out or because Kyle's out, we've seen Freddie work his way back. Freddie's been playing great the last few games. Same thing I'm going to say about DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright has to get a lot of credit for what he did in this game, man. Because I felt like even though it looked like he was struggling for the majority of the season, I always liked his energy that he brought, right? I felt like he could go on those Lone Ranger kind of fast breaks on his own, create a bucket for himself or for someone else. He was active at least.
Yeah.
And in this game tonight where he gets to start, that's tough if you're DeLon Wright. You're thrusted into the starting lineup, and he answered the bell. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists.
He did a bit of everything. And I even made a little bit of a hot take. I love OG, but I was just saying, it wouldn't surprise me if in a couple years DeLon Wright is the better of the two with OG, right? Like, I mean,
it's interesting. OG,
it's not so
it's
one-sided. OG, like DeLon's got game.
DeLon is really good. I think DeLon's game is super active.
It's a good problem to have for the Raptors.
Yeah, he's super active. He, as a point guard.
He's a very lengthy point guard. Yeah.
Yes, and he's solid defensively.
Yep.
Whereas OG, I feel like it's tough for him right now because he can't really find his rhythm. And I think that this kind of happened to Norm last year as well, in the sense that with Kyle and DeMar, the offense was a lot of just iso ball, right? And so Norm especially developed his game to where he could succeed playing in that style. This current Raptors offense and how they play, it's more based on ball movement, dribble handoffs, shooting threes, right? Like everybody's kind of active and moving. Whereas if you're now a guy like OG or you're like Norm, a lot of your opportunities are just going to come from you being wide open. Can you hit this wide open three? Which is something the legendary Greg Popovich, as this ad pops up in my ear. But as you, I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if you guys can hear that. This ad popped up in my ear, but which the legendary Greg Popovich made a living off of just finding guys and saying, "Can you hit this shot? The corner three.
I will get the ball to you. 3-4 times a game. Just stay there and wait."
Right. Danny Green had a very successful career because he went to San Antonio and was able to just play solid defense and hit this three. And that's kind of where OG needs to find himself now, because that's how you're going to be beneficial to this team as currently constituted. When there's no Kawhi, I don't know, there might be more opportunities for him to handle the ball more, show off other parts of his game. But as of now, be able to knock down that open three, play defense, which is something I don't think he did as well, really. But it's tough. It's tough.
Well, I mean, was he always he's very athletic. Was he always considered like the 3-and-D kind of guy, or should he maybe try to drive to the net a little bit more? Or
he's been working on his three. He didn't really have the 3-point shot. He's been working on it, and it's gotten better. But he's working. I'm
gonna go a little. Maybe the viewers might like this. I know you are probably like, nah, man.
Okay.
Does all this talk mean that maybe we could use a shooter?
No, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not mad at that at all.
I mean, I've been saying this. We all know Kawhi's game is a screen, 3-dribble shoot. His game isn't to bringing up the ball. That's Kyle's game. Kyle seems to be stagnant in the shooting. He's getting league in assists, passing the ball off. So if we could get Kawhi to get those scrappy points and Kyle to dish the ball with Fred, wouldn't it be nice to have a great shooter right now? Because it seems that Nick Nurse isn't, like I was saying before, he's not really piling up the plays for Danny Green.
Yeah.
CJ's having an off year. We all know that. OG still young. Fred's stepping up his game. But it seems like if this is the year for the Raptors to go for it,
you want another knockdown
I want another shooter. I know we'd all love Beal and all that, but that's going to... But, I mean, just... I don't know who's out there, but just one more. Someone that could maybe get the 25 to 30 minutes, but a veteran shooter, right?
I understand your point, and I think super interesting. But the one thing I would say that makes it kind of tough as well is the Raptors, like, we haven't really seen the full team yet.
Yeah. And guys, if you have a shooter that you maybe think would be good, just
Yeah,
comment and let us
Yeah,
know
yeah.
too, because I don't know all the ones that are available. A lot
Yeah.
of people might know, but yeah. Anyways, you're saying
No, definitely, right? I just think it's kind of a thing where there's so many like they've been throwing out so many different lineups throughout this season
yeah.
that I don't
That it's not
know
going to mess with the
if
chemistry a bit, even if you
no,
did bring in one.
I just
right?
mean I don't know if the Raptors are a good shooting team or not because
I
everybody hasn't really been in. We don't even know what the consistent bench mob rotation is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Like
mean,
it's been kind of weird. And when
with
everything settles down and Kyle is shooting well,
that's the key
we know Danny
factor.
Green is
Yeah.
a shooter. Kyle's a good shooter. CJ should be a good shooter.
He's
Do
not,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Kawhi's a good shooter.
Kyle is adapted this game that he's been playing this year as more of the facilitator. Like then, that's a bit of a problem, right? So I mean, then you got to find Kyle's points, and
Yeah.
if Danny Green and CJ and listen, Danny Green's playing awesome, but I just don't think he's getting enough plays. Hopefully that will change. But if CJ and OG and DeLon and them aren't gonna Malachi Richardson and them, they're not gonna be shooting that second scorer, so say. Then
Yeah.
if this is the year that you just go for it, then I wouldn't mind trying to grab another scorer.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at that at all. I just think it's tough, right? Because CJ
Oh
struggles.
yeah, if you're gonna you're gonna have to give up an OG.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're gonna want to get a legit scorer,
For
right?
sure.
Like that's
For
for
sure.
sure.
The thing too, though, I think is that you're in such a tough position because it's highlighted so much more the struggles that CJ Miles is having
Yeah.
when he has to play so many minutes, right? Then he looks really bad. And someone here on Twitter says Miles' starting lineup is like playing 4-on-5 from the start. Right? That's tough. Someone else says this is a bad loss. We're trying to get a chip. True. I mean, I understand that line of thinking, but I would argue that if you are trying to get a chip, you're not going to remember that you lost game 32 without all these guys in your lineup.
I mean,
you're
they
not going to
looked
remember
good.
that, right? Like it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Also, too, a thing that I feel like we should bring up because it'll get active, because I try to make that my goal, right? I try to have the people understand that yes, wins and losses are all fun. We enjoy the games and all that, and it's great. But I'm here to like not have you overreact, right?
Yeah.
To have the people overreact. So here's a reminder, okay, of what the Raptors played without tonight. Because Denver, whatever, they're dealing with their injuries. That's on them. Cool.
Yep.
But the Raptors, you're talking about a game you lost because guys couldn't knock down shots in the fourth quarter. Here's what they're without. Pascal Siakam scores 14 points a game. Kyle Lowry scores 14 points a game.
And gives 10 assists a game.
Jonas Valanciunas is scoring pretty much 13 points a game. Freddie at about 10 points a game. So you're looking at around, and then added Norm and his 5 points in limited time that we saw him this year. That's 56 points per game that's out of your lineup, or nearly 48% of your offense. Right? So like
That's big. Yeah, it's a difference maker.
it's a huge difference maker, right? And I think getting Lorenzo Brown in, he had good spurts early on in the game too, where I thought he looked good. Monroe, it's going to take him a while to like get used to having the consistent minutes and how he's going to fit in, because how he's going to fit in with the rest of the team, because obviously he's a different look than JV is. How you're going to feed him, where you're going to feed him the ball is different than how you're dealing with JV. So there's a lot of things here that the Raps still got to work out. That's what I'm saying. Relax. It's okay. 6-2 road trip.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah, that's great.
More comments here from Instagram. All I got to say, Siakam, please, whatever you do next year, don't take the GoDaddy money.
I think the Raptors, I think they've told him thank you, but we're done with that now.
I know, at some point you got to think
Yeah,
about it, right?
man.
Someone else says the GoDaddy curse is real. I can't stand CJ. Are people done with CJ Miles? Like, I mean, I said a couple games ago, I'm like, I'm not, if he does
This
something
was his
great,
game
cool.
too. Yeah, if he would have, you know,
But I'm not expecting anything from CJ at this point.
No.
I'm not.
and if he plays as many minutes as he does towards the later parts of the season, then
Yeah.
something's wrong with the Raptors, right?
Right? Someone else on Instagram says, did OG sleep in GoDaddy's PJs last night?
Serious.
The GoDaddy curse is a thing. People are funny. We could have used Van Fleet tonight. We could have used any of those guys that were out tonight. Just whoever could hit a shot. Hopefully, right? We could have done something. Just anybody to hit a shot in the fourth quarter, and the Raptors win this game. It's that simple, right?
Yeah,
what do you-
Denver had a bad shooting percentage first half.
Yeah.
Both teams did, but yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about around the league, the refs giving these soft technicals? Basketball is an emotional game. Refs need to chill. I agree. I think the quick text, I never really understand it. Plus, also,
Danny Green got one today too, right? Yeah.
I hate when refs give a technical in a close game at the end of it because, like, what's the point, right? Like, you're now affecting the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
Someone could call you whatever name or whatever in the first half or second half, or you know what I mean, like early in the second half,
Yeah.
and you could call them and give the technical, cool. But when it's like crunch time,
Yeah, and tempers are high, and
yeah,
they got,
like,
yeah.
understand the emotional side of the game and that you got to let a little more slide before you give out a technical that's
Yeah.
going to impact the.
It's kind of like Kevin Durant is the ref, and it's a little, you know what I mean? It's a little,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, someone agrees with you. They said the two texts on Surge and Danny
Taking
were
things
BS.
too personal.
More people agreeing with you here on Instagram, Mikey. They're
With, like, a
saying
shooter?
that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We could use a shooter. We need a shooter that's not a liability on defense. Someone else says, yeah, another 3-and-D. OG stock is nearing CJ status. What could we get?
No, not yet. Let's hope not.
Yeah, I mean, OG.
If he has more games than that, yeah. But no,
Oh,
he's a
and-
really good defensive player, so you could get some for him.
And
Young, good contract.
Yeah, and I asked, are we done with CJ? Someone says, yes, we're
Yeah.
done. I mean, it just looks, again, full team. When you have the full team, CJ Miles isn't going to matter. It doesn't matter that
No.
your ninth guy off the bench is missing the shots he should hit, right?
Yeah, and OG, he'll be 27th pick overall, which the reason I'm saying that is to get in, because there was something that I kind of wanted to just float.
Yeah.
And I just noticed this, guys, because Jokic is an unbelievable talent.
He is.
For the Denver Nuggets. And so I went and looked when he was drafted in the 2014 draft. And this, guys, is how important drafting is.
Okay.
Because if you remember, the 2014 draft was the year of Bruno Caboclo,
Bruno.
our favorite, 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Yep. The Brazilian Kevin Durant.
Yeah. But after that, just a couple more picks was Clint Capella.
Yes.
And then the Raptors had one more pick after that in 2014's draft. In the second round, 37th overall, they picked DeAndre Daniels from the University of Connecticut. 3 more picks after that went Jokic.
It's tough, right?
So, I mean, it's a little fun fact, but I mean, if you could imagine just a couple, that's why scouts and all that, it's so important. Instead of Bruno and DeAndre Daniels, easily could have had a Clint Capella and Jokic front court there, right?
Imagine how crazy that would be, right?
Oh my God.
There's a lot of comments coming in, and totally appreciate you guys always sending us comments. And especially, you know what? I want to shout out you guys as well, because even during the West Coast, like late night games, we still had a lot of people writing in and commenting. So greatly appreciate it. Happy to see just like people really enjoying the podcast and joining in, because this isn't like, even though whoever I'm sitting with, it's not just us having the conversation. It's for you guys
everybody,
as
yeah.
well, right?
Exactly.
So this is a great point here brought up in the chat on Twitter. Someone says Kawhi would have had 11 assists tonight if people would just hit shots.
Exactly.
It's really
that's true,
crazy,
yeah.
right? How bad it was. Someone else, all in all, I'd rather go through the bumps now instead of later. Totally agree. You know, if you have nagging injuries, let guys sit. Let them get through it. I know Pascal took a hard fall in the last game.
Yeah.
No need to rush the kid back, right? Make sure that he's fully healthy, that he's well rested when he comes back, and you're going to give other guys an opportunity to get going, because you might actually need Greg Monroe
Yep.
later on down the line,
Who's
right?
been he's been playing pretty well in the last couple
Not
games,
mad.
filling in,
Not
yeah.
definitely not.
That's
mad.
why you get a good veteran like that.
Someone else says OG needs to stop shooting so many threes and learn how to make proper layups.
Yep. Needs
Totally
to drive
agree.
a bit more.
It's tough
He's
because
very athletic.
it becomes difficult, because when he's shooting the three that poorly,
Yeah.
you could tell that Denver was
in your mind.
letting
Letting
him
him, yeah.
shoot.
You said that, yeah.
They weren't even running out at
Yeah.
him, right? Like Plumlee looked, saw who it was, and he like just stopped.
And you know what was really crazy? The one that he hit in the fourth, I think, was contested.
Yeah, that was the hardest one. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Someone says, why is this team playing Miles? A good league player would be better. Oh, maybe a G League player. Yeah. It's, again, with the full team, CJ
the last
Miles
game
is
of a
an issue.
road trip, guys. I mean, this is to be,
Yeah.
it's kind of the sports
Altitude.
cliche. It's expected, right?
altitude, last game of the road trip. You're asking a lot from bench guys who don't play that many minutes to now step in and hold the fort.
I mean, honestly, in a weird way, if you're gonna lose, they lose this way. I don't want him to hide the mistakes where maybe OG hits a couple of those and they lose by one and we think it's okay.
Yeah.
At least now Nurse kind of sees like, okay, we got a problem here.
Yeah.
Get in the gym. We're gonna fix this. What plays are we running? No more plays for where OG's sitting out there. Let's get somebody else out there. OG start driving more, right? You don't want him to hit maybe 2 more of those threes and then you lose by 1 or 2 and everyone's like, oh, OG's got to. No, he doesn't, right? So sometimes when it gets the mirror is put in front of you and it gets showed like this, right?
And you know what? We focused in
fix it, like one comment said. Like one comment was, I'd rather get this out of the way now.
Exactly. And the thing too, we focus in a lot on the troubles of CJ and OG in this game from 3. But the Raptors as a team shot 20% from 3-point land.
Yeah.
From 3-point land. Sorry, I got in the middle of saying land and line. But point remains, 7 of 35 from 3. And Kawhi Leonard, for as great as I think he played, he was 1 of 6 from 3, right? DeLon Wright was 0 of 4 from 3. Danny Green was only 1 of 4.
And Ibaka only took 1.
Yeah.
He made it.
Yeah, so it's like, it was a poor 3-point shooting night, and that's the game. When you just lose a game.
It was a poor fourth quarter, really.
Yeah.
But guys, they played good. As good as they could. They had the lead pretty much most of the game.
Yeah, you can argue they ran out of gas.
Right? Yeah.
Ran out of gas. Last game of a road trip in Denver at altitude.
I was talking to you about this watching the game, but you made a point that they had Kawhi in the whole third. Because I thought maybe the last game of the road trip, you're off for 3 days. Just Kawhi missed 2 of the 4. Put him in the rest of the game. Forget that Nick Nurse decided to put him in with 8-9 minutes left. By that time, Jamal Murray was just dagger in your face, up by 4, and they never made it back.
A lot of good comments here, so I'm just going to go through some of them. People agreeing, but agreeing with you, saying, I just lost it because I scrolled up too far. Oh, this guy says, been saying this, need a shooter.
Definitely.
So this guy agrees with you, Mikey.
Who's our second scorer? Really? It's supposed to be, and I said this in one, I think I remember I said, what is Kyle? In one of the very first podcasts we had, even about, because it seems like he's not stepping up to be the second scorer. I mean, only when Kawhi is not playing. So, I mean, you can't put all of this. I mean, he's doing it, but you can't be making it where it's just all Kawhi, all everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, again, because I don't think this game is
the telling tale.
Yeah, because the season's not going to be like this, right? Where it's Kawhi and DeLon having to lead and do everything, right? But more comments here. Never thought I would say this. We need Norman Powell back to take Miles's minutes.
When is he back?
I agree. He's got to be coming back soon because I think I saw last week he was doing like 5-on-5 drills in practice. So he's got to be on the way back soon.
Yeah.
People are arguing about the need for Norman Powell here. Someone says Norman Powell is needed back in these games. And then the next comment right after, no Norm.
No Norm.
With an exclamation mark.
Norm's got to prove himself. But I mean, listen, everybody knows how nice it would look with Bradley Beal and Kawhi.
Yeah.
Right? The guard, the 2 and the 3. But
Fred VanVleet was out in this game with a back injury, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, on Friday in Portland, because they were so shorthanded, he gave it a go, but he probably wouldn't have played in that game. Yeah. So, give him the rest that he needs. Well, because again, you got to just make sure that these guys are all ready come playoff time, because that's when you really need these guys to go. OG just needs to fix his shooting. He has all the tools to become a great player. Wow. We need to call Carmelo Anthony right now with an exclamation mark.
Kawhi will never get the ball then if he
the Raptors go out and get Melo. Oh man. Someone says Ariza could have been good.
That's what I said. I said Ariza. I asked you how long his contract was, but
yeah,
Ariza would have been decent. He's a great shooter.
So someone says we need the Carmelo guy comes back in and says, imagine Melo with the bench mob. Part of me is intrigued by that. Not because I think it would work, just because I think it'd be funny as hell, Melo in a Raptors uniform, because people would like freak out.
No, I think the only place
man.
Carmelo's going to is with LeBron, if anywhere.
If anywhere, I know
If
it's
anywhere.
been it's kind of weird that it's taken this long,
long.
for him.
I just
to
think
find
the
a big
Lakers
spot.
are giving him after Christmas and all that, right? Let us see what transpires with them, trades and something. And if there's room for him, he'll go there.
Yeah,
I don't see Masai doing that.
yeah. I mean, overall though, the Raptors, I'm stressing patience. I think you ride through the season and you deal with injuries. How well do you deal with injuries? They still didn't get blown out in these games.
Could have.
So, yeah, could have easily gotten blown out.
And it looked like they played like it was the last game of their 4-game West Coast trip.
yeah. And
Nonchalantly,
I
jacking up uncontested threes and not really going for the rebounds. And there's a lot of in and outs. And
yeah.
it's just an ugly game.
I honestly think they just ran out of gas in the fourth quarter at the end of a trip in Denver.
But they better be back for Wednesday because Indiana's a hot team.
Indiana is a very good team.
Guys,
underrated
Indiana
team.
is a very scary team.
They don't get the pub of some of the other Eastern
Bostons
Conference
and the Phillies
teams.
and Indiana's with Oladipo was out almost 3 weeks. They're still 19-10, third in the East.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Still had a very good run there for sure. So that'll be an interesting game.
Yep.
First game back at home after the road trip for the Raptors. They host the Indiana Pacers on Wednesday. But again, the Raptors fall tonight to the Denver Nuggets 95-86 in a battle of the two top teams in each conference. The Raptors wrap up their 4-game trip with a split 2-2, which I said at the beginning, I'll take a 2-2 road trip. That is a success.
Exactly.
I'd say a 2-2 split on this road trip is a success.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to play the results and change my mind after watching them. I'm sticking to that. 2-2, take it, right? So again, thank you for joining us on the Wrap It Up podcast. You can find us always live on Twitter at Shell Alexander, where you can watch the feed live. And then later on, or if you want to watch it for your Monday morning commute, ends up on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, all that fun stuff. Actually, the last podcast was like well over 1,000 people listen to that on SoundCloud, which was like, okay.
The community is real, guys.
It's blowing up. Things are boosting, right? So, and I'm saying that's just on the one platform of SoundCloud alone. That's not including the whatever thousands on iTunes or
and then
Google Play or YouTube, right?
Comments on YouTube too.
Yeah, I keep pointing people to YouTube because the comment section
I sit and just read those comments, and it's
yeah. Raptors fan base is passionate right now, and they're fired up, and they should be because you still have the best team in the entire NBA. Things are going well. This is the best season and best team in Raptors history, so we will continue to be right here discussing that after each and every game. Mikey, where can the people find you online if they want to hit you up, man?
You guys can follow me on Instagram, MikeBello_6. Hit me up.
And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Shell Alexander or on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. And did I just say the same thing twice? I don't know.
No, it's at Shell Alexander on Twitter and at Sheldon Alexander on Instagram.
Cool, and that is correct.
I'm listening.
Maybe I'm tired at the end of a 4-game road trip as well.
We all are.
But thanks again for joining me. And as I always say, I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is Wrap It Up on Blast Rap's postgame show. As always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.
Peace.
On blast.